Are we live? I think we're live. Yes, we're live. Welcome, everybody, to the 24-Hour Marketing Mastermind, a weekly hangout. And I just want to welcome everyone for being here. I see that, I think it's, Tony. Welcome, man. Welcome to this hangout. Very glad of you to be here. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure. If this is your first hangout, we normally take it quite casual. We're possibly going to be joined by Steve. Steve normally joins me on these hangouts, but the problem is he's got a little thing called load shedding happening on his part of the country. What happens is, they for some reason they just turn the lights up for a couple of hours, and his has been out since 8 p.m. his time, and so that's been quite a while. I think it's been going on about 4 or 5 hours now. Which is quite unusual. It shouldn't actually be out for that long. But if he does get on with us, you'll actually see him. So it's normally me and Steve on here. And I want to welcome you all to this hangout. Welcome, everybody. If you just joined us, I also want to say that for everybody that's on here, I'm going to be going over the basics with you on how to get started with the system. I'm going to be covering some very interesting points. And hopefully, with the knowledge that you take away from this, you'll be able to go into your business with an idea of how to actually start producing and how to also earn those high commissions. Now, let me see. Before I get started, I also want to welcome some other people on here, and I want to also welcome Jude. If you're watching, thank you, buddy. It's really cool for you to be here. I hope that this is going to be informative for you and that you'll see what we're all about. Also, welcome Tony Bang to this. Tony just joined my team. Welcome to my team, and hopefully you're going to get a lot of out of this. All right, the next person I want to welcome is David Roden, and let's see, the other person I want to welcome is Joseph Pennington and Leo Pinto. Welcome so much to the team, and I hope that you really will get the most out of this. All right. One of the reasons we have these hangouts is we want to educate people on what to do, because a lot of people join and they don't know how to actually start their business. All right. They get involved with the system, they sign up for it, and they go through the process, and then they're like, what now? And if you're on my team, you'll be getting some emails in the next couple of days, so just watch out for them. They're going to be explaining to you what you need to do over the next couple of days so you can actually start getting the results you need. But I'm going to be covering over that basically for you. And right after that, I'm going to be going over some principles with you so you can understand how this business actually works and why we have this hangouts and why it's so important to plug into these hangouts. All right, so usually what I do right now is I go ahead and share my screen, and I'll tell you about what you need to do. And I'm going to do that right now. I'm not going to share my screen at the moment because I've had a couple of complications with that. But I'm hopefully you guys will be able to follow me. I might share my screen later if it's actually working properly. But here we go. When you log into your back office, you'll see that on the right-hand side, you'll have a little section here called the level up sequence. It's very important that you go through that level up sequence and follow the instructions. All right, go through those videos, because the people behind that who have made that level up sequence know exactly what they're doing, and they've done it for a reason. There's a reason that's been there. It's a reason that's been there so long is because it actually does work. And you need to be going through that level up sequence and unlocking the videos as you go up in the level. The next thing you need to do is you need to go through what's called the Fast Start training, which is going to cover the 8 core commitments to your success. All right, now the 8 core commitments is something that you need to do. All right, this business is a systems-based business. All right, and I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover what I mean by that in a few minutes. But it's a system-based business, and that's what you need to know. All right, everything you need to know about this business is inside of the back office, inside of Empower Network. You'll also find in the tools section that you'll have what's called walkthroughs, and these walkthroughs cover a lot of basic material that you need to go through. And what I would advise you to do when you get started in this system is to go through the back office and get familiar with it, all right? Go through the videos and go through the training and go through everything in that list. You'll see there's a whole bunch of areas where they'll have fast start training and affiliate access and buy your event ticket. And there's a I think a compliance section that you need to go through. You need to go through that so you can familiarize yourself with Empower Network, all right? We also have a number of products which are available for you to purchase, and these products have been put in there because they work. That's what you need to know. They actually do work. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to share my screen for a bit, and I'm going to show you something just to let you know that the system does work, all right? I'm going to show you some Colado Basic sales, just so you can see what I'm saying is real. All right, so I'm going to go and do that right now. Hopefully you guys can see this. Over here, if you can see my screen, just say yes, you can see it. Hey, welcome, Joe. Appreciate you being here, buddy. I've known Joe for a long time. I met him in New York. He's always here, and I really appreciate his support. Welcome, buddy. Anyway, as you can see here, I get commissions virtually every day. All right, not every single day. Sometimes I get more than one. Sometimes I get one. I missed 2 days yesterday, and as you can see, I get sales virtually on a constant basis. So getting people into the business is not difficult. All right, it isn't difficult at all, and you need to understand that. And the reason it's not difficult is because the training inside of Empower Network has provided me to be able to do that, all right? A lot of people will say to me, how is it that I've been able to produce so well? And it's mainly because I've invested in my future. I've invested in the products that I have. And, you know, so you'll have products in the back office, and one of those products there is called the Unstoppable Dream, the 6-figure shortcuts, right? It's a one-time payment of $197, and it's going to cover a lot of the basic information that you'll need to grow with your business, all right? That's a very good product to have, all right? There are other products involved, and that's going to be like Colado Basic, which most of you have, but I highly recommend that you go to the Colado Premium, because Colado Premium is going to give you access to so much more training on how to actually blog. All right, and I'm going to be covering that in a few minutes when I talk about the principles of this business. All right, then we have something called the Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle is probably one of the most important products out there. All right, and the reason I highly recommend getting it is because it's going to enable you to start earning more commissions. All right, because every time you sell an Inner Circle, every time you're in line for that commission, you're going to get yourself a 70% commission on that product. It's a $100 product a month, and it is absolutely imperative. And there's a recording on that Inner Circle under the Rewind section called "Speak the World into Existence" by Dave Wood. All right, it's very important that you go and you listen to that. All right, and one of the things that I would suggest you do is to go ahead and get that product. Just go ahead and get it, and go and listen to that product. Put it on your phone. It's on my smartphone, and it's ready for me to listen to anytime. And I would suggest what you do is you go ahead and listen to that audio every single day for 60 days. And you're probably not going to understand why you need to do that. It'll only start to make sense for you once you reach 30 days, all right? Once you actually get to 30 days and you listen to it every day, it's probably going to dawn on you why you need to listen to that. And then after 60 days, it's going to absolutely make sense. And the reason I suggest you listen to that product is because honestly, there is something magical about that particular audio. I don't know what it is. I can't define it for you, but it's really going to help you, push you, and stretch you to do things that you would normally never do. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Now, today's Hangout is not going to be particularly long, and that's for a reason, and I'm going to explain that reason as we get to the end of nearly the hour. I'll explain that when I get there. But I want to cover something for you, and I hope that this is going to make sense, because And please tell me if it does make sense while I'm speaking. It really helped me and encouraged me as well. So here it goes. Let's say, for argument's sake, all right, now I'm nowhere near this earning bracket, but let's just say I'm earning $30,000 a month, all right? So I'm earning $30,000 a month, and I have this knowledge to be able to do it. Now, I have the knowledge to teach people how to earn a couple of $1,000s a month because that's what I earn. You know, $2,000 to $3,000 a month for me is actually very good in my country. It puts me in the bracket of earning an engineer salary. All right, so let's just say, for argument's sake, for your currency's sake, that I was earning $30,000 a month. And now I wanted to teach that to somebody. So I go ahead and I grab, let's say, Joe. All right, so I go ahead and teach Joe McKenty how to earn $30,000 a month. Now, statistically speaking, when you teach somebody a strategy or a formula or a piece of teaching, they're only going to remember about 50% of what you teach them. And probably they're going to get half of that wrong when they teach it to somebody else. All right, because there's no way that you can remember everything that you say to a person. All right, most teachers in any sort of institution know this, and that's why they not only teach the lesson, they go ahead and they give you books and they give you homework and they give you all sorts of other things so that you will get the most out of the lesson. All right, so going to class is only half the challenge. You need to actually start immersing yourself in the actual material. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, I go ahead and I teach this to Joe. All right, now Joe gets the information and he goes and teaches it to a guy called Sam. All right, now Sam, when Sam gets the information from Joe, he's only going to retain about 50% of the information. And he's probably going to get most of it wrong as he teaches it to somebody else who'll get it a little bit mixed up, but he'll pass some valuable information on down the line. But as it goes down the line, the resources and information are going to get watered down. All right, so 10 levels down, the last person, Tom, right at the end, is only going to get maybe 1 or 2% of the information that I first told Joe. Now, that is the way life is, all right? That's just, it's kind of like a game we used to play called Broken Down Telephone. You started off with 10 people, and you whisper somebody in somebody's ear, and then right at the end of the line, you know, somebody gets the whole message all mixed up. And why? Because somebody interprets something, and normally you've always got one class clown in the middle who's changed the entire sentence, and then they go ahead and they get it all wrong. I'm sure most of you can identify with that. Now, the thing about growing a business online is that you want to make sure that people are plugged into the right type of information. Now, part of the reason we get people to come to this particular hangout is because we want to get people on the right track, all right? So part of your job as someone who's in this business is to get people to this particular hangout, all right? And the reason we want people to get on this particular hangout is because, first of all, when they're new and there's communication between me and the person who's introducing somebody, it's going to help. It's going to help that new person see that we are in fact a community of people that want to help others, all right? That's what we want to do. We actually want to go ahead and give people a boost forward. And we want to tell people what to do. So you're starting out now, you don't know what to do, and I'm telling you exactly what to do, and that's to get started with that little sequence and to go through the Fast Start training, all right? And you need to be able to communicate with it. You need to be able to communicate that with your team. I can't speak today. Anyway, and you know, every now and then what we'll do is we'll do a bit of training on something inside of the business so we can give people more information. And also, we also have the ability to answer questions. So, for instance, if you have any questions and you want to ask me, you're more than welcome to go ahead and write them in the comments box and say, Dave, I'm struggling with this. Can you please help me understand this better? And that's another reason we have these particular hangouts so that we can answer questions. Now, in reality, when you start a business and you grow to a point where you get thousands of people in your team, it's going to be impossible for you to answer every single one of those questions. And that's why we have a central place where we can come to and we can address a lot of people at once. Because at the end of the day, that's how you're going to reach people. And you know what? If you're there and you're active and you're asking questions inside of the comments, that means that I know that you're serious, and then I can go ahead and communicate with you more. And I know that you're actually someone who wants to take action. So you have to understand that the main purpose of this hangout is to help people have their breakthroughs, answer some questions, give some clarification on something you're struggling with. That's why we come together as a group, so we can help people move forward. All right. Now, I want to talk to you about this because I've recently discovered something and kind of had a breakthrough myself. And I want to talk to you guys about this because this is probably the reason why a lot of people fail in their business. And a lot of the reason people fail in their business is because they just simply don't have the gumption. They don't have the drive. They don't understand why they are doing things. They're just going in blind without any sense of what they really want to do. And so I'm going to give you some practical things right now that you can do to get started. All right. Now, I've gone through the basic stuff of going through the level up sequence and those fast start training. And please don't underestimate that. That is very, very important. So one of the things you need to be doing with your teammates is the following. All right. You need to be sending them to this hangout. You need to be sending them emails, follow-up emails, explaining to them the importance of the level up sequence and the fast start training, and to simplify that process and to explain to them why they need to do it. All right. And the only way you're going to figure that out is if you go through it yourself. So don't look at this and think, I don't need to learn it, because you definitely do. And I'm certainly not out of the equation. I need to be doing that myself. Now, here's the other thing that you need to be doing. And this is part of the reason why this hangout's not going to be going over an hour. Straight after this hangout, there's something called the Empower Hour. And the Empower Hour is, for want of a better word, let's see, it takes a person who's succeeding and is earning quite a substantial amount of money, and they're spewing their advice to the whole community. All right. And you're going to be getting training in there. You're going to be getting motivation in there. And if you plug yourself into that Empower Hour, it's going to do a few things for you. Number one, it's going to give you education. All right. Number two, it's going to give you something that you can speak to people about in your blog, in your videos, on your Facebook. So you're going to be educated to do that and teach other people. All right. It's also going to be building a community of people that's going to be going to that particular that Empower Hour, so that people can get a sense of what it's like to be part of a business. All right. And you want to do this. And this is why I say it's a system-based business. So the way that people will excel in this business is if you plug them into the system. All right. Which means it is your job to explain the importance of the follow-up sequence, and it is your job to explain the importance of the fast start training, and it's also your job to explain the importance of the Empower Hour. All right. Because the Empower Hour is going to give people that extra boost, that extra motivation, that extra reason, all right, why people need to be doing this. And if you're on this hangout right now, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and plug into the Empower Hour at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to be doing the same thing straight after this hangout, all right? I'm going to be there. And I really hope that you will be there as well, all right? You need to be able to do that. You need to be plugging into that. If anything else, if you don't make it to my hangout, make it to the Empower Hour, all right? So that's what you need to do. You need to commit to doing that. The other thing you need to commit yourself to doing, and you need to find a way to do it, is to get the Kolatsu Premium. Now, if you don't know how to do that, there's a button as you're looking at the page on the right-hand side that says get the Kolatsu Premium trial for $17. Give it a try for like, I think it's 2 weeks or so. Give it a try, get inside there, and take advantage of the training inside of the Kolatsu Premium. Right? And the reason I say that is because on Tuesday, they have something called the Q&A sessions. And the Q&A sessions cover everything you need to know about the Kolatsu blogging platform. All right? And inside the Kolatsu blogging platform, there are the replays to those hangouts that they've had every single week. So you need to be doing 3 things or 4 things. You need to explain why people are in the business. You need to get people to this hangout. You need to go to the Empower Hour, and you also need to get people to plug into the Q&A sessions on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's what you need to do, all right? Because the only way that you are going to grow your community is by plugging them into a system that's going to teach them how to produce $30,000, all right? Now, it's just the way it is. There's no ways that I could ever duplicate anything that's on the Q&A session. I can't do it, all right? I'm not going to be able to do that. There's no way that I'm ever going to be able to give people the experience of earning massive amount of money with a different experience every single week. That's why we have the Empower Hour. The reason we do this is that people are exposed to new things, and it also stretches people, all right? You need to understand that if you're not growing in your business, if you're not learning new things, you're going to be stagnant and you're going to remain. Your business is not going to move forward. The only way it's going to move forward is if you're taking action on a daily basis, all right? And that's what you need to do. It's very, very important. So there are a couple of things that I want you to think about seriously. And I want to ask you this question, and you need to be honest with yourself, all right? I want to ask you realistically, all right? What is it that you want to earn with this business? Now, before I say anything more, I've got to say this. See our income disclaimer at empowernetwork.com/income.php. Go in and check it out. That we have to say that I cannot guarantee you're going to be making millions online. Cannot be going to guarantee you're going to be making anything online, because it's entirely up to you. I don't know what you're like as an individual, but I want you to ask yourself, what is it you want to earn online? What is it you want to make? You know, is it $5,000 a month? You know, is it $3,000 a month? Is it $10,000? Is it $34,000 a month? What is it that you want to make? And I want to say right now that if you're looking at me right now and you're saying to yourself, you know, Dave, I just want to get by, chances are you're only just going to get by because you're going to fulfill your own prophecy. And that's just a reality. If you just want to get by, and I've had a lot of people say that to me, you're not stretching yourself. And you probably will just only get by. You've got to say to yourself, you know what, I want to earn this amount of money. I want to be able to earn that amount of money. And then you have to say to yourself, right, I want to earn this amount of money in so many months, 6 months from now, every year from now. You need to put a date on that, and you need to be clear on your intention. All right. The next thing you have to do is you have to say to yourself, right, so what is it that I can invest in my business? Now you have 2 options, right? You first of all need to say to yourself, well, you either need time, all right, and a little bit of money, or you need a bit more money and less time, all right? There's no other way around it, all right? If you're sitting there saying, well, Dave, I want to earn $10,000 a month, but I'm only prepared to put in $25 a month and going at the lowest level, how on earth is that even possible? It's not impossible to get there. It will take you a long time to do, but the chances of you creating that type of income in a short amount of time is very slim to none. So you have to ask yourself, am I willing to invest into the training so that I can get the maximum amount of education I need to put it into practice? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Well, so I would highly, highly, highly recommend, it's just my opinion, I'm not forcing this on anybody, that you get as many of the products as you possibly can. In fact, if you're watching this right now and you haven't done it yet, go and get the 6-figure shortcuts, go and get the Inner Circle, and go and get Top Producer Formula at least. And look, I understand people have financial constraints. I completely get that, because I was in that position when I first started. And I started at the little level. But you got to look at my situation. I live in a third world country. $25 to me is like $300 to you. That's exactly what it's like. Somebody said to me, "Oh, Dave, just join it. It's like $25 a month." You know, and he says, "What? It's like 3 cups of coffee." And I said, "Do you know how many cups of coffee I could buy with $25? Probably 20 or 30 if I looked in the right places." All right. Realistically, it wasn't possible for me to start out because I was only earning about $400 a month in my full-time job. All right. So it wasn't practical for me. And I understand that there are constraints. But you know what I did? I did whatever I could. And even at the basic level, I couldn't even make some of those payments. There were times where I was on lockdown. There's times when I was in grace. There was a time where I was completely on lockdown and I had to pay extra just to get in. And it nearly killed me. But I did whatever I could. And I went to friends and I said, "Look, is there anything I can do just to earn a little bit more money so that I can get in there?" Now, maybe you don't live in a third world country. Maybe you live in a first world country. And in that case, you have a far better advantage than me. If this was 25 Rand in my currency, I would have been all in ages ago. All right. When I started, I would have been all in. But if I was earning $25, if I was earning in dollars, it would have been a completely different story for me. And I'm saying to you right now, if you, for instance, can't afford something like the Inner Circle, what you need to do is you need to take a piece of paper and write down Inner Circle at the top. And then you need to list ways on that piece of paper on how you can actually get that money every month. So whatever it takes, you just go ahead and get that. And then once you've got that product, go ahead and listen to the rewind. First of all, go and listen to the first 3 videos. That explains why you need it. And then go and find Speak the World into Existence by David Wood. And that's on the rewind section. It's like the first one on the rewind section. So that's what you need to do. And then, of course, once you actually get all the products, your monthly payment for Empower Network comes to $216. Now, you have to realize this, first of all, that if you were starting a regular offline business, it would cost you something in the region of like $4,000 to $5,000 just to keep your doors open without even making profit. And realistically speaking, you'll only see profits in your business after 3 to 5 years. That's why most businesses fail. But think about it this way. It's an online business. $216 is nothing compared to that. It's even nothing in my country with an offline business, all right? Because it's way more than that if I were to start a regular offline business. You have to start thinking of it that way. And the only way that you are going to start earning more commissions in your business is if you start saying, "You know what, I'm going to up the ante and I'm going to go and stretch myself and I'm going to go ahead and do it." Do you know that every time I bought a product on the Level Up sequence, I got a little bit scared. It was like there was a little bit of apprehensiveness, and I was, "Oh my word, I can't believe I'm doing this." But every time I did it, it was so worth it because of the value inside of there. And part of the reason I say to people, you've got to get that Top Producer Formula is because it has everything you need inside of that product to produce, all right? Everything you need is inside of there. You just got to take the time to go through the training. And the cool thing about that is that once you've got that product, you also get access to a bonus course in there called the Costa Rica Intensive, which is another amazing product, all right? And so that's what I want to share with you today. I want you to understand that if you want to start seeing bigger commissions, you need to start upping the ante. And if you say to yourself stuff like, well, I'm only going to invest money in the business when I start seeing results, then you're on the wrong end of the scale. Okay, you're on the wrong end. You need to start thinking a little bit differently. All right. It's not like a McDonald's opens and then they decide, well, I'm going to sell fries. And then when I earn enough money, I'm going to sell burgers. And then when I earn enough money, I'm going to sell drinks. No, that's not how any business works. You've got to understand that if you start saying to yourself, well, I'll start earning until I can afford it, that's a completely wrong attitude. You need to start saying, well, you know what? I'm going to put in as much as I possibly can so that I can start investing in myself. That's what you need to do. That's what you have to understand about this business. And owning a business is very different to working for somebody else. Because when you own a business, you take responsibility for it. We are so used to working for somebody that everything we get from our employer is free. You know the kitty, the money that you get for buying certain things that you need for office supplies, the boss gives it to you. You need to go on a route, you need pep money in some cases. But you know what I mean? It's like you get stuff from your employer. When your employer starts out, he has to invest all the money. He has to take on all the risk. And yes, it's going to be risky. Absolutely, it's going to be risky. But there is no success without taking any risk. You ask any successful person out there who hasn't had a handout and ask them, say to them, did you take any risks? And every single one of them will say, absolutely. So are you on that team? Or are you looking at this business by saying, you know what, I just want to just see how much I can do, and then I'll start investing back into my business. Now look, I understand that there are just some cases where you cannot do it, and I'm not suggesting for any moment that you should be completely blind about this and put yourself in tremendous unneeded debt. I'm trying to say to you that you've got to think about every single way that you can possibly build on your business. All right, that's what you need to do. And so if like you're right here right now and you're wondering, is this actually something that I can do? The answer is absolutely yes, you can. If you take a look at my history, sorry, I keep looking at the time. I started out as I've been an IT technician for most of my life. And first of all, you don't need to be an IT technician or know anything about computers to run a business like that. That's got nothing to do with it. I know people that have been in the industry for over 30 years and they still not making any money, all right, because they don't have the right attitude. They don't have the business owner's mindset. And you'll see part of that in the level up sequence. Now, I've been, best part of my life, I've been a youth worker, working with kids and children. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to be able to teach young adults and even teenagers on how to actually make it in this world without having to rely on your government to provide you with a job. Right? I'm so sick and tired of people relying on people who you just working with somebody else and you really just making them rich all the time. I don't want to do that. I've never been like that my entire life. I've had jobs and I've worked full time. I've been a belting technician, skiving belts, those conveyor belts. I've done that. I've worked on electronics when I was on an assembly line, doing this type of thing. I've done, I've been a hawker when I was walking on the streets and selling stuff to everybody. I have done so many things and I hated every one of those things. Why? Because I hate the fact that I had to answer to somebody. I hate the fact that somebody tells me, you know what, you need to get up at this certain time. You need to come to work at a certain time, and you can only take a break when I say so. And then, of course, those moments where you make the tiniest mistake and your manager takes it out on you, and all you want to do is just cringe inside, and you want to just take a swing, or you're feeling all tense. I used to have this boss that whenever I used to make a mistake, like we used to skive these belts, and when I say skive, you would join these belts together and you would stick them together. But every now and then I make a mistake and I would shorten it. And the belt would be too short. Now what would happen is he would come up to me and say, He would pick up the belt and look at it, and he'd say, "Follow me." And I'd have to follow him all the way to his office. And he would sit down, and I'd stand there like a moron, and he would look at me and say, "Do you know how much money you just cost us?" And I'd say, "No." He said, "This belt is worth," and he would tell me the price. He says, "We will never be able to get that back again because you wasted it and you never took the time properly." The hell with that. I'm not going to deal with that my entire life. I've had that all my life growing up, working for people. I'm not going to have that. I'm going to be the one that's going to write my own check. And you can do the same thing. The only difference is now you need to start taking a little bit of risk. And you need to say, you know what, if I'm going to run my own business, I need to start taking responsibility for myself. And you need to start plugging into the training. And the only reason that you are not making what you want to make is because you are not investing the time and the money into it. So, you know, if you've got all the time in the world and you're plugging along, but you're not willing to invest any sort of money in your education, why would you succeed? If you want to earn huge amounts of money and you've only got 1 hour free a day, do you honestly think you can make that work? It doesn't make any sense. You need to start investing in what you're doing. And now I want to talk to you about something. Maybe you guys will understand this. Let me just look at the time again. Sorry. I'm going to give you a bit of a Bible story here. I'm saying this because there were a lot of things that Jesus taught that I think are fairly applicable in everyday life. And I don't know if you know about the parable, but Jesus is talking to a huge group of people. And by the way, I used to do this. I used to teach the Bible. I've done it for over 20, 25 years of my life. And one of the things we used to teach was the sower. And Jesus would tell these stories in parables, and he would talk to people about it. Now, you can look this up if you want to. It's in Mark, in the book of Mark. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to paraphrase it now, but believe me, this is exactly what happens, and a lot of people skip this. All right, so what happens is Jesus gets on a boat, and he goes out and he teaches to people. And people come around from all over the country, and they want to hear what he has to say. And he says, "I want to teach you about the kingdom of heaven." That's what he says. And basically he's saying, I'm going to tell you the secrets on how to get to heaven. That's what he's doing. So he gets in the boat, and he starts to give everybody a huge horticulture lesson. He tells people how to plant seed. Now, if you read that parable, if you read that part of scripture, all Jesus does is he tells people about the seed that was thrown on rocky ground, and the seed that was thrown in the thorns and the thistles, and the seed that was thrown in good, moist soil. And then he says that some seed died because they had no roots. Some seeds were choked, and some seeds grew, and they flourished. That's what he says. And then if you look at the actual parable, he says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear, and he who listens, let him listen." And he gets out the boat and he starts walking off, and that's it. That's the end of the parable. I mean, that's it. Now, if you've gone to Sunday school, gone to church, you understand immediately what that parable means. And the only reason we know what it means is because in the actual parable, what happens is Jesus goes off, and his disciples and a few of the other followers follow him. And they basically say, "What are you talking about?" All right, because there are only two responses, really. People can either listen to that horticulture lesson and go, "You know what, the guy's crazy, I'm just going to walk away." Or they can listen and say, "What did you mean by that?" And my point is this. If you want to find out how to grow a business, the only way you're going to know is if you ask questions. That's the only way. All right. So if you're watching this right now and you want to know more, you need to start listening to people. And by listening, I mean listening to the training. All right. And while you're listening to the training and things don't make sense, and something doesn't fit right, and you've gone through all of that, the only option for you is to ask questions. And that's why we have a 24-hour marketing mastermind group in the Facebook, in Facebook. So you can ask questions. That's why, if you want to, you can connect with me on Facebook. And if you've got a question that doesn't make sense, I'll be more than willing to help you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know that there are people that I've spoken to, and I know I've spoken to Tony, and I've spoken to Jude, and I've spoken to Joe, and I've spoken to a lot of people that have been following me, and they have questions, and I give them a little bit of information to help them push along. But don't get me wrong, I'm not here to babysit you. I'm not here to carry you by the hand, because in 100% of the cases, when I have done that with somebody, they don't succeed. And believe me when I say I have done that. I'll tell you a little story on what happened to me about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I won't mention who it was. I just told him, I don't know what's a good name. Hoyt. That's a guy's name. Anyway, so Hoyt gets hold of me and says, hey, how you doing? That's great. So I say, what you doing? And he says, well, I'm really struggling with making videos. All right. And I say to him, okay, so what is it you're struggling with? And he'll go ahead and he'll say, sorry, I think somebody's just messaging me. I don't want people to think that this thing is ended. Just give me a second. Sorry. Please excuse me. So, where was I? Oh, yeah, Hoyt. So I get hold of Hoyt, and he can't make videos. So I say to him, oh, that's not a problem. Let's get on Skype, and I'll have a conversation with you, and we'll talk it through, and I'll tell you what to do, and you can make a video. Great, not a problem. So I get hold of this guy. And this is only one example. There are plenty like it. Hundreds, in fact. So I'll say to him, okay, so what I do is I'll log into his computer, and I'll set it all up for him, and I'll say, right, all you need to do is to press this button, to press that button, and go ahead and do this. And if you have any more questions, just go and look it up on YouTube. But I basically helped Hoyt get everything he needed sorted out so he can make a video. It took us about 3 weeks before he actually got something out there. And I thought, okay, well, at least he's got that skill now, and he'll practice and practice it. I don't speak to him for like 2 years. He contacted me a few months ago. And I said, hey, how you doing, Hoyt? How are things? She says, great. And I said, so what you doing? And he told me what he's into. He's in some sort of program. And I said, so what do you need to do? He says, well, I need to make videos and that. And then he says, do you think you can help me make a video? And I felt like crying, because I thought, in those 2 years, you didn't take the time to either go through some sort of course. You didn't take the time to either learn your skill. You didn't take the time to say, hey, Dave, I don't understand this. Or he just didn't do anything. And let me tell you something, 100% of the time, the people will ask, well, not 100% of the time, but a very good percentage of the time, people will ask you questions, and the answers are straight inside the system. Now, I recently had somebody that I helped, and while I'm mentioning that, I just want to say hi to Giovanna, who's watching this. Hey, Giovanna, I hope things are going good for you, and I want to answer this question because I feel it's important. Some people might not know this, and you raised something with me which I might have taken for granted, and I just want to say this to everybody. You don't need to open up an Aweber account and a GetResponse account. You only need one of those two, all right? You know, it's not a stupid question. It's a completely legitimate question what you're asking, and you need to just have one of those accounts and go through it and create an account. It really is not that difficult. And the great thing about GetResponses when you're creating an account is that you can Hey, Giovanna, cool, man. So the great thing about GetResponse is that they are awesome with their support. So they've got a chat box on the left-hand side. You ask them a question, they'll sort it out. I had an issue with them today. I couldn't know how to fix it, and they helped me out straight away. They are very good at what they do. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of the time when you don't know the answers, you got to just reach out to somebody who does. And so if you're dealing with GetResponse, you just got to go into GetResponse and get help from them. If you're dealing with Empower Network, then you just got to follow the videos, and they've got very helpful information that you can listen to you. It's very, very helpful. All right. So don't take it for granted. Now, I tell you that story about Hoyt because it's so true for a lot of people. I don't know what it is, but there just seems to be this thing where if you don't know how to use a computer, you for some reason you don't want to learn how to do things. And let me tell you something, Joe McKenzie, if you don't know, JJ Joe Mack, the guy is, I think he's 77 right now, Joe. I think he's 77 or sorry, 70. We're just giving you an age right there so I can tell people. But let me tell you something. Joe is in his 70s, in his 70s, and he's one of the sharpest 70-year-olds I know. He's sharper than a lot of 25-year-olds because when he learns something, he just puts it into practice because he wants to learn. He wants to succeed, and I see it in him. He's got such drive, and he hasn't given up. And a lot of people have given up, but you don't need to. Why? Because I haven't given up. Joe hasn't given up. Giovanna hasn't given up. And Tony hasn't given up. And I just want to say that for you watching this, don't ever think for one moment that you can't do this. Anybody can do this. I don't care what your situation is. Anybody can do this, all right? Unless you live in North Korea, you probably have a very good chance of doing this business. You can do it. And let me say also, I never thought for one moment that I could do this right in the beginning. Because, and I'll tell you why, because for 5 years prior to that, I had tried just about everything and failed terribly. I just wanted to earn $1 online. I knew in my heart that it could be done, and I was having a bit of a struggle with my head because, mentally I'm thinking, is this actually going to work? But I knew in my heart that it could be done. I just had to make the transition to make it work. And part of the reason I struggled so long and never made a commission for 8 months is because I started out at the lowest level. That was part of the reason. The moment I started to upgrade and to start to plug into the other training is when I started to see those commissions get bigger and bigger. If you ever earn like a $1,000 commission, I have one time. Have you ever heard like a $500 commission? I have. It's a great feeling. The only way you're going to get that is if you start upgrading to the higher products. But not just because you can get those commissions, because there is training inside of those products that are going to change the way you work forever. And everybody knows this. My favorite product is the 15K formula. And if you don't know how to get that, it's inside of the Team Builder formula. It's the bonus training that comes with it. Team building formula is terrific because it shows you how to build with your teams. But inside of that, there is a 15K formula is the main how-to product. And when I say the main how-to product, if you look at the 197 product with the 6-figure shortcuts inside of your back office, that is kind of like a version of the 15K. But there's a lot of stuff inside of the 197 product that's very new, and that it's a lot cheaper than the team building product. And it's a one-time fee. So you get that stuff, you're going to get access to a lot more stuff, and a lot of things are going to help you build your business quicker. And you're going to be taught by Tracy Walker and Rhonda Swan, and they are $1 million earners inside of this business. And that's why you need to start duplicating with the big guys. You need to start plugging into the training with the big guys. You need to start doing that. And so what I'm going to do right now, there's 10 minutes before the hour. I'm going to end this hangout right now, but I want to tell you right now as you're watching this, all right? Plug yourself into the Empower Hour, all right? So get on there with me at TikTok. Listen to what they have to say and learn from it. So get onto that Empower Hour, all right? Make it part of your weekly thing that you're going to do it. And then go and get the premium product, right? Go and buy that product on the right-hand side, the Collazo Premium. Get that product and then go to the Q&A session of the Collazo Premium. They'll give you, I think it's like an hour and a half of just solid training where they're going to be answering questions about Collazo Premium. You're going to get that. And then, of course, when you get Collazo Premium, you're going to get free hosting, you're going to get extra plugins, and you're going to get all of the replays that they had on the Q&A sessions that are inside of Collazo Premium. So go ahead and do that, guys, and stretch yourself. Push yourself a little further. So you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm just going to make it work. So, guys, with that being said, I see Stephen hasn't joined us. His lights are probably out. And Stephen, if you're watching this on a replay, sorry, but really, you can make it. I know a lot of people wanted to see you. And for Giovanna, Joe McKenzie, Tony, that commented. For the rest of you that haven't commented, you know, that's great. I'm just glad that you made it. Maybe you're not able to comment. I understand that as well. And it's really cool to have you. And we will see you again next week. And don't forget, you want to get people plugged into this Hangout. And the cool thing about this Hangout is that you can take, you'll see it, it's online.com/24-hour marketing course /hangout/?ID equals. After the equal sign, all you got to do is take your user ID inside of Empower Network, which is right at the end of your affiliate links. Go ahead and put that after the equal sign, and you can go and promote this Hangout to your list so you can get people on there. So make yourself a commitment. I'll say, you know what, I'm going to bring 10 people to this Hangout next week. All right. So, hey, Giovanna, it's been, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. You know, I don't care if there's one person on this Hangout or 100. I'm glad if I help one person. And don't be discouraged by the fact that people aren't commenting. I know that you're there. I know that you're committed. And the more you comment, the more you get involved, the more I can see that you actually want to do this thing. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye. Get plugged into the Empower Hour right now. So go and get a cup of coffee, whatever you need to do, sit down and watch it. Take out all distractions. Go and watch the Empower Hour at 9 o'clock tonight, which is in like 8 minutes. And then, of course, tomorrow, before you get on there, go ahead and get the Collazo Premium so you can get into the Q&A sessions on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because believe me, those things are amazing. All right. And then, of course, if you're all in, they also have another one, which is all in Thursdays. But if you're not all in, I completely understand. But you want to do that. All right. Because that's going to help you learn. That's going to help you grow. That's going to help you train. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye, and you have a great, great evening. Just so you know, guys, I had a wonderful week. I really did. I'm so glad I'm able to communicate with you guys. I'm really excited, and I want to see you guys get there. So let's get up to like earning like $30,000, $50,000 a month where we can be there. As again, I got to say, go ahead and see the income disclaimer at empowernetwork.com/income, because I can't guarantee you success. Legally, I have to say that. But I know that you guys can succeed with this. If I can do this, you can do it. All right, guys. So that being said, I'm going to say goodbye. Cheers.